So there's this really awkward moment at the beginning of the movie where Alec Baldwin is sitting down with James Earl Jones. They're making small talk. This is before the movie really starts, but they're sitting down, they're making small talk, and Alec Baldwin starts talking about how his daughter wants to have a baby brother, and why doesn't he just buy her one, because that would make her happy. And he says, well, I think it'd be, she said, oh, it'd be much easier if we just bought one for Stanley. And then James Earl Jones gets really serious. The camera pushes in, and he's like, who's Stanley? And I'm thinking like, yeah, who the hell is Stanley? What the hell is happening here? I thought this movie was about submarines. And then it cuts back to Alec Baldwin. He's like, oh, Stanley's a bear. And then the camera just kind of lingers on him for a little bit longer than it should. And then it cuts back to James Earl Jones, and he's like, uh-huh. So you want to get to the plot of the movie here? Let's go. So this movie is just about the perfect movie. It's not quite perfect. I mean, it has just about everything. It has like the best collection of dudes from the 20th century. And then it has guns, it has missiles, it has submarines, it has swearing, it has extreme close-ups. The only thing it's missing is a hot lady, but we can fix that right now. By far my favorite scene in this movie, though, is when, I'm probably gonna say that a lot. There's a lot of my favorite scenes in this movie, but okay, one of them, I don't know. On a kind of like a Richter scale, if I could label them in terms of that, I call this moment a 8.9 on the Richter scale, and that would be the moment where Alec Baldwin has been invited by James Earl Jones to have a discussion with the president's political advisor, some kind of advisor, something like that. I don't care. It's Francis Seven from Logan's Run. He's the president's advisor for submarine affairs or some kind of nonsense. Anyway, so nobody believes Alec Baldwin's idea that what's happening is not what you think, that it's not going to be a first strike against the U.S. And then he sees this thing on the wall, and he's like having this epiphany, and the music suddenly starts to build, and you're like, what is he thinking? What is he thinking? It's like zooming in and then zooming in on his face, zooming in on this picture. And you're like, what is he thinking? What is he thinking? The music's getting louder and louder. Like, what is it? What is it? What is it? And then finally it explodes. That is so awesome. Like in real life, when I'm having epiphanies, or I feel like I'm having like a really great idea, like I'll hear that music in my head. I'm like, so about the plot. The plot of the movie is, so Marco Ramius, Sean Connery, who by the way is like a straight up murderer at the start of the movie. Like, the movie starts off and you don't really know what's going on yet. You know that there's something secret going on between him and the first officer, the XO, Sam Neill, and that they're keeping something secret from the rest of the crew. Not sure what. He says, oh, there's the political officer is in the cabin. And the way he's talking about it is like, he's not supposed to be in there, and this is probably not good. The captain goes in there, and the political officer is asking too many questions. And so Sean Connery just straight up murders him, and he breaks his neck. I mean, he was kind of a jerk, but I mean, did he deserve that? And the look on the guy's face, I'll never forget that face. He's like, why did you do that? So our protagonist, well, is it a secondary protagonist? I'm not really sure. It's like, how do you judge who's the protagonist? By whose head is the biggest on the poster? Because in that case, it's Sean Connery. But I would say that Alec Baldwin he's the protagonist. He's Jack Ryan. He looks like $1 million, you know? I'd say, actually, he looks like $1 billion, because look at that freaking hair. It's like he's got an oil slick. Have you guys noticed that there's like no women in this movie? There's like one at the beginning of the movie, and it's Dr. Crusher, and it always takes me out of the movie. I'm like, Dr. Crusher, why the hell are you in the Hunt for October? Get the hell out of here. Go back to the Enterprise. But then there's a second woman, which I usually forget about, but the only reason I remember it is because she seems really stupid. It's in the moment when he's flying. The stewardess comes by, she's like, ooh, why don't you go to sleep? The flight will go a lot faster. He's like, oh, I can't sleep, you know, because of turbulence. She's like, what? He's like, turbulence, air rises, cool air meets, and Earth's crust, blah, 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 turbulence. I can't take that. She's like, okay. She's a stewardess and she doesn't know what turbulence is. That's what I've always implied. Am I wrong? I don't know. Or is she just surprised that he knows what it is and she's trying to outsmart him? I don't know. That's the only other woman we get in this movie. Beyond that, it's a total sausage fest. And I'm okay with that, I guess, because this is like the best collection of dudes in the history of movies. I mean, Sean Connery, Sam Neill, Alec Baldwin, Courtney B. Vance, that guy from that thing, and that guy from that thing, and that guy from that other thing. Oh, and Tim Curry. Tim Curry's in this movie. Hello! He's like, by the way, I'm on the submarine too. Don't forget about me. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And the start of the movie, like, it starts off with this great close-up on Sean Connery's freaking great crinkled eyes, and Sam Neill's standing behind him. He's like, oh, it's very cold. He's like, yes, very cold and hard. I'm like, yeah. I don't know what that means, but yeah, it sounds cool. It's cold and hard, man. Yeah. There's so many great things in this movie, though, that I think that we forget about the little things and some of the side characters, but they're really great. And one of the best side characters by far is Jonesy, Courtney B. Vance. I mean, this guy is so freaking good. Like, he's like one of those actors that's so good, you forget how great he is because he just seems to like ooze awesomeness. Like, he's just so natural at it. Like, can you believe that this guy who plays Jonesy is the same guy that played Johnny Cochran in the O.J. Simpson Netflix miniseries? Like, that's the same guy, man. I can't wrap my brain around it, but it is. Like, he's just that freaking good. Even though Jonesy is just a supporting character, like, you feel like he's got this little like story arc and like character growth that goes throughout the movie. It's kind of like this little subplot where he gets to have this arc where, like, at the beginning of the movie, like, everyone's making fun of him because he's like way into submarines and he's way into sonar and whatnot, and like, you know, he's kind of like the serious version of Harlan Williams from Down Periscope. And then Sean Connery is like so awesome. He doesn't even try to put on a Russian accent. He's like, I'm Sean Connery, it doesn't matter, I can talk however I want, whatever, I'm so cool, I don't even have to look at this teacup as I catch it. By the end of the movie, we get there and it's like perfect movie, man. Like, I couldn't ask for anything more. It's like I'm about to show my O face, like, oh.
Welcome to the new world, sir.
Oh.